Welcome back, it's Doug MPA. I've covered this topic before, but this is going to be an article with the latest numbers on it. This article says single women are more likely to own homes than single men. Why? Now look at the language. It says single women own homes, not buy homes, own homes more than single men. Off the top of your head, guys, what are the two biggest reasons why single women own more homes than single men? Anyone? Anyone? Divorce and women live longer than men. Why is this so hard? Another thing, if the genders were reversed, they'd be talking about some kind of home ownership gap between men and women, and there's a crisis, and the government would have to be involved in finding ways for single women to own more homes. But because men are behind, they don't care. So we're going to get into this article. Before I do that, like the video, subscribe, drop a comment. I really appreciate it. It shows you support me and what I'm doing over here. And let's get into this. It says, long life expectancy and a greater desire for stability may be playing a role. Gee, you think?
Jesus H. Christ.
Single women in the United States are outpacing single men in home ownership. A 2023 Pew Research Center survey using 2022 census data found that single women owned 58% of the nearly 35.2 million homes owned by unmarried Americans, while single men owned 42%. A recent study from LendingTree showed a similar, though smaller, gap, finding that around 13% of single women own a home compared to 10% of single men. The reason behind this disparity in home ownership is unclear. Like I said, divorce. Men don't live as long. Women that are younger, the number one goal is education and then buying a house. Not finding a husband, not finding someone to share life with. So a lot of women coming out of college, once they get their bachelor's degree or master's degree, besides traveling, they try to buy a house, even in this crazy housing market right now. Housing researchers believe it could be linked to women's longer life expectancy, disproportionate caregiving responsibilities, and in the case of younger women in particular, a narrowing gender wage gap. They admitted that the gender wage gap could be narrowing. Could they even say something like that? We all know the gender wage gap is garbage, but they keep bringing it up, don't they, guys? The Pew report attributes the difference to the number of older women who outlive their partners. Homeownership rates among unmarried adults rise with age, according to the report. About 70% of single heads of household aged 65 or older own their home, compared to 44% of those between the ages of 35 and 44. And think about it is 65 and older, a lot of men die out in the early 70s. So most of these are women. And women tend to live longer. The average life expectancy for men in the United States is about 73 years compared to about 79 for women. A lot of women tend to stay with the house when their husband dies, which typically leads to home ownership. Women's higher longevity may not account for the full disparity, however. While the Pew report found that the gender difference in home ownership rates was limited to older unmarried adults, the NAR, the 2024 Annual Home Buyers and Sellers Generational Trend Report, shows single women bought homes at higher rates than single men last year, regardless of age. Overall, the NAR report found single women accounted for 19% of home buyers, while single men made up 10%. Women make less, have more student loan debts. 70% of the student loan debt is owned by women. They get degrees that nobody cares about that are going to make them less money. They go into fields where their jobs are the first to go in the economic downturn, and they're still buying houses by themselves. Why? Men, we buy houses when we're established, when we're settled, and when we're looking to get married and have children. A man will buy a house and say, you know what, I could put a wife and kids in this house. Women do not approach it the same way. Only 16% of marriages have the woman as the breadwinner, and I don't know if there's any evidence of this, but I would guarantee that most of those women met their husbands in college and got married, and they spent some years together. She got a job where she's making more than her husband, and they had a couple of kids, and the husband decided that he was going to work part-time or stay at home with the kids to avoid childcare costs. But established professional women that own homes will not let a man move into her house and take care of him to have a family long term. It's just not going to happen. They'll let Pookie, Ray Ray, and Nug Nug in through the window late at night to shoot up the club and blow their back out, but they won't let a good man move in and take care of him and the children they could have long term. They just won't do it. Says that difference is similar among several age groups, though it narrows among older Gen Zers and millennials while widening among most older adults. This Jessica Lutz told The Hill it's hard to determine why single women are outperforming their male counterparts in home buying. But she said women's disproportionate caregiving responsibilities may have something to do with it. They're more likely to be single moms, and they're more likely to be purchasing a multi-generational home. So they may have an elderly relative within the home as well. And that's another thing that I didn't say at the beginning of the video, so I'm going to add it to the list. Divorce, men don't live as long, and single moms. And there's so many government programs that will help single moms get everything. Houses, insurance, daycare, all this stuff. So the government will help a single mom get a home and then call that home ownership. Women shoulder more caregiving work than men, research shows. Census data from 2022 shows 80% of single-parent households are headed by women. On top of this, 2/3 of unpaid caregivers to older and sick family are women, according to the Family Caregiver Alliance. Single women with children under 18 often look for stability of schools when deciding where to live, and those with aging family with them may want the stability of healthcare facilities. The bottom line is owning versus renting moves to the unknown of changing monthly payments and location. Let's clarify that single Gen Zers are less likely to consider caregiving duties when deciding to purchase a home than those from older generations. The high homeownership rates among women in that group could instead be a result of shrinking wage gap. Women in the U.S. last year made about 83% of what men earned, according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But in 22 cities, women under 30 are on average actually make more money than men in their age range. And so let me tell you why, guys. A lot of female-dominated careers, the salary is front-loaded. So the average college graduate still gets out of school making about 37, 38, 40,000. Teachers get out making more than that. And 75% of teachers are women. Hairstylists make more than barbers, right? Nurses make $60,000, $70,000 a year out of college. And what? 80% of nurses are women, but right around 35, male-dominated careers pass the salary of those careers and keep on going, and female-dominated salaries never catch up. So that's why. And then men aren't as quick to make a 30-year commitment of living someplace in their 20s like women are. Ladies, before you buy a house in your 20s, think about, is that a place where you want to live for the next 10, 15, 20 years? We live in an upwardly mobile society. You may have to move. And what if you can't sell? These are things that women don't think about. Says this, when combined with an apparent greater interest in being a homeowner among single women, could be contributing to the trend in home buying. Pew data indicates that the gender disparity in homeownership among unmarried Americans is shrinking, with the share of single homeowners made up by women falling from 64% in 2000 to 58%. But let's stress that the NAR has routinely seen its data that single women own homes at greater rates than single men, and that the gap is growing. Single women made up 11% of home buyers in 1981 compared to 10% of men. Single women have always put a preference on homeownership and have said, even if I make less money, that is my housing goal and what I want for my future. What do we think, guys? I want to see a follow-up article as to how many women actually keep these houses. Because there's a lot of women getting foreclosed on, and evicted. And that's one of the reasons why they had to pass all those moratoriums during the cough. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like the video, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one.